I am in Gatlinburg, Tennessee tonight. If you're new here, my name is Natasha and I like to vlog in the Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg area. Tonight, I'm doing something a little bit different. 'Tis the season, it is October, and we are just a few short weeks of Halloween, which means we have entered spooky season. So Gatlinburg is a place that we used to frequent and travel as a favorite destination for years prior to us moving here. And something that I have learned that has always fascinated me is that among the beauty and the beautiful scenery that this area has, there is a dark lore to the area. So I thought with Halloween approaching that I would kind of explore some of the haunted side and the haunted areas of Gatlinburg. So Gatlinburg is a very popular tourist destination for people from all over the world, and with it comes some haunted history of love lost and some tragic tales, which we'll explore. Gatlinburg's ghosts and legends of the area have really kind of woven themselves in the fabric of the area. And what a perfect night to talk a little haunted history here in Gatlinburg. It is a full moon tonight. What a perfect night. I thought I'd start our journey at the start, where Gatlinburg got its name. Gatlinburg takes its name from Radford Gatlin, who was a controversial figure here in Gatlinburg history in the 1800s. Gatlin moved to the area in the 1800s and opened up a general store, which later he opened the first post office in the area. The town was previously called White Oak Flats, and after having opened the first post office, the town got renamed to Gatlinburg, which was part of his name. He was a very well-known figure here in Gatlinburg, primarily because of his fiery personality. We all have that person we know in our lives that just kind of snaps. They just get set off very easily. Well, it's said that Radford Gatlin was one of those individuals. He had a very fiery temper, and he created a lot of enemies in the area with the locals. His personality clashed with a lot of the locals in the area, and eventually he was run out of the town, but his name still left a mark here in the area with the town of Gatlinburg. And it's said that his legacy and even his spirit might still linger here. So some say that Radford Gatlin still haunts the area around the site of his former store, which was located in the middle of downtown Gatlinburg, which I would assume would be right around here where Fanny Farkle is today and Chocolate Monkey. And it is said that he still causes mischief in the area by unsettling feelings, and those that pass by kind of have strange occurrences and they feel like eyes are creeping up behind them. So next time you grab a sausage or grab a corn dog at Fanny Farkle's and you feel kind of a leering eye behind you, could it be Radford Gatlin gonna go causing mischief, just having a little tap on your shoulder? Never know. We're gonna walk by here at Fanny Farkle's, and I'm gonna take you guys to our next destination that is kind of tucked away, and a lot of people, particularly tourists, don't even know about this location. So we're gonna creep up here and investigate our next destination. So tucked away here in downtown Gatlinburg, we climbed up towards through the back of Fanny Farkle's. You will find White Oaks Cemetery. And White Oak Cemetery is one of the oldest cemeteries here in Tennessee, and it has the final resting places for many of the town's early settlers. It was established in 1830, and the cemetery is said to be haunted by the spirits of those who endured various hardships during the course of their lives. So they braved all kinds of ailments and diseases, hunger, and just like the mountain environments during the time. And it was just a difficult time. But it is believed by some people that the souls are still tethered to the land. So here we are at White Oak Cemetery. Visitors have reported hearing voices and seeing apparitions near some of the older graves, especially at night. I gotta tell you guys, it is kind of a creepy feeling being in here at dark. I'm not gonna get, oh, I thought I heard a voice. I swear, I just thought I heard a little girl's voice. It was so creepy. But visitors have reported hearing voices and seeing various apparitions. So the restless spirits are said to still linger among these graves. Oh my gosh, I just have a really weird feeling here. I can't even explain it. It's just such a weird feeling. Like, I kind of have a weird feeling in my gut. And I've been here before. I've walked here before. Not at night. I'll admit, this is my first time at night. And wait, I'm not even joking, but this is a little creepy being up here. So the cemetery, kind of show you right behind me, is completely pitch black. It's not lit up. I just kind of feel like leaving. I just feel like the energy is just kind of pulling me down. It's just a weird feeling. Next time you're in the area, definitely walk back here. It's very easy walk. Tell me what you think. So here we are a little bit closer and just kind of get a peek of the cemetery. Oh my gosh, I just have a weird feeling. Just kind of, I keep feeling like something's behind me. It's really eerie, but there it is. I've always enjoyed traveling all across the country and visiting historic graves and historic cemeteries, but out of respect for those that have passed, I don't like to get too close to the graves, just out of respect. And I do think that recognizing and going to the cemetery is a form of honor, even though you don't know those that have been laid to rest there. So I think that we're honoring them by explaining the cemetery and showing it to light. But same token, I don't encourage people to kind of go and meddle around the graves, because it still is, I think, a form of disrespect to the families. Okay, so as we're kind of making our way down from the cemetery, you might recognize where we are. So it's kind of amazing how all of these locations are just right in Gatlinburg that you probably just walked millions of times by. But here we are. We're in the back of the village. Oh, I love this fountain. I love fountains. It's so relaxing. Okay. Here we have Donut Fryer to the left. And coming out from the back, we are right in the center courtyard of the village. And here we are back on the strip. It's a busy night here in Gatlinburg tonight, and it's always fun to kind of imagine what life was like here years back in the 1800s, and if some of those settlers could kind of peer down today and see how Gatlinburg is now, what they would think. And as with all lore and tales that have been passed along through generations, things could get a little bit misconstrued, and these are just some stories that have been kind of passed along that are well known in the area. And some of the accounts of employees and locals are just those personal occurrences. So if you have any experiences about any of the locations or stories tonight, please let me know. And as we are walking to our next destination that I want to kind of explore with you guys, this is a good time, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel for just various adventures in the area, vlogs, explorations, and don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed this video, I would greatly appreciate it. As you can see, I am bundled up tonight. It feels so good. Feels like fall. There's a crisp air, but it feels nice. Feels nice. In 1926, Grimsby and Streeper Casket Company suddenly shut down because the owners just kind of mysteriously disappeared. And Ripley bought the empty, decrepit building back in 1991 and filled it with all sorts of haunting personalities, which we see here today at Ripley's Haunted Adventure. So since then, Ripley's Haunted Adventure has scared hundreds and thousands of visitors here in Gatlinburg. It's one of the most popular attractions here, especially if you like to get spooked and scared. I don't know about you, but that's not something that I love. But what you do is you go inside the abandoned coffin factory, and you can navigate through your way through the dark hallways and pitch black corridors where live actors, special effects, and all kinds of scary hauntings kind of happen. So I have not been in here, but I think it's kind of spooky in itself because of the history of it being a coffin manufacturing business. I've walked by here hundreds of times, and I've always gotten kind of creeped out by the actors, and I can tell you the live actors are really good. I am not brave enough to venture in here, so if you are, that's definitely something that you can do. So I think the history of it being an old abandoned casket manufacturing business, I think it's interesting. You know, Ripley, if you know the history about Ripley, he was just a fascinating man where he liked to collect all different kinds of things. So him buying an abandoned casket business, and I think the history behind the owners just mysteriously disappeared is kind of creepy. So one thing that I kind of learned just now, that after talking to one of the Ripley's associates up front, is that they used to have scare actors that would stay outside and kind of try to scare and lure people in to kind of entice them to want to come in. Well, the city of Gatlinburg apparently does not allow it anymore, which I thought was kind of interesting. Okay, so we're going to move along to our next destination, not too far away. And just to give you a little bit of a hint, it is the most iconic location here in Gatlinburg, I think. Let's go. And here we are. I'm sure you recognize where we are right now. And it is at the Arcadia Space Needle. Wow, the sky just looks absolutely magnificent today. Look at those clouds. So here we are approaching Arcadia Space Needle, which to me is the most iconic structure here in Gatlinburg. At the bottom of the Space Needle is Slice Bakery, which is my favorite pizza here in Gatlinburg. I did a video there. I'll link it below if you love pizza. So I come here quite a bit. And below there is the Arcadia Arcade, which is my favorite arcade in, I want to say, one of the top 10 arcades for me in the country. That's how much I love it. I love their prize area. I love it. Right above, we have the Space Needle. Look at this. Beautiful night tonight. The Space Needle is roughly about 400 feet tall, and you can get all the way up to the observation deck, which is 360 degrees around. It boasts some of the most beautiful views here in Gatlinburg. You really get a full view of all the mountains. It's just a spectacular view. But in order to get up there, you need to take one of the elevator shafts right there in the tower, which will transport you all the way to the top. I love their arcade, like I said. I love their pizza. So with all of the wonderful experiences I had, there also is some dark history that the Space Needle holds. In 1991, a boy by the name of Tayton Creed Marr got a job here at the Space Needle. He had a very tragic ending, unfortunately. One day, he entered the elevator shaft from the top of the Space Needle and slipped, which resulted in him falling on the oncoming elevator. And he then became trapped between the elevator, the top of the elevator, and the building, the structure of itself. So Oh, I can't imagine the terror that he felt at the time. And there were passengers in the elevator at the time going to go observe, going up to the observation deck. And as the elevator shaft went up, the boy was trapped and eventually reached to the top of the structure, and he was unfortunately crushed. And as he was crushed, it is said that the people in the elevator actually saw the blood seeping down the elevator doors, and the scene, I can't imagine the horror that the people experienced that were inside the elevator, and obviously the family of the boy that tragically ended in the manner that he did. So what made the circumstances for the people in the elevator even worse, however, is that they were actually trapped for at least 3 hours in the elevator until someone was able to rescue them. So I just can't even imagine. Later in 2016, a man jumped from the top of the Space Needle, and it is said that from various employees and locals that frequent the Space Needle, that you kind of can still feel a watchful eye from that man. And employees have actually said that you can still even smell the blood that dripped down from the elevator. So a lot of eerie feelings are still felt around the Space Needle by those that work there and those that do frequent there. It's interesting, and it's kind of bone-chilling to think of the incidents that have occurred there. So that incident in 2016 of that gentleman that jumped off was just one. There have been more recent incidences as well of individuals that have jumped from the top of the building, tragically. So next time you are at the Arcadia Space Needle, maybe take a little pause to think about the past and see if you can hear or feel anything different. And to our next destination, we are traveling off the Strip and onto River Road. And as we are walking down toward River Road, you might see a familiar structure here, especially this time of year, the Mysterious Mansion, but we're going to hold off and not talk about that for just a moment and kind of pan over to the right here. And we will walk a little bit closer, but as I'm walking, and you can see it because this hotel is the Edgewater Hotel and Conference Center, is large. So you can really get a feel of how large it is from afar. So we'll walk a little bit closer and kind of chat a little bit about it. Edgewater Hotel is a popular hotel, and in 1972, a 7-year-old girl plunged to her death from the hotel room balcony. There's a little bit of a story behind it that when police came to investigate, they started to suspect the father's involvement in the child's death. And what happened is the parents fled the scene after the girl fell from their hotel balcony. When the parents fled the scene, their car overturned on a winding mountain road, and it pitched the vehicle along with the parents into the Little Pigeon River. So it is believed that at night, if you do stay at the Edgewater, you can hear voices and even see the girl on the anniversary of her death. You can see her pointing to her balcony of where she jumped off of. So if you're coming into the area and you're looking for a little bit of a darker history and maybe something that you could experience, you could get a room at the Edgewater, and one of the nights you can come explore the next door building, which is the Mysterious Mansion. The Mysterious Mansion is known as one of the scariest haunted houses in the United States, and it opened in 1980. And according to legend, the Victorian-style house is haunted by the ghost of a family that met a very tragic end in 1903. So, very separate story, but very close to the Edgewater Hotel next door. So I have not been brave enough to go inside the mysterious mansion. Maybe one day. I know I have been asked to check it out and explore it, but I'm just not brave enough. And I'll be honest with you, this is the closest that I have been to the mysterious mansion. Just the eerie music alone just kind of gets you. And on to our next destination requires a short drive outside. So here we are driving through Roaring Fork, and Roaring Fork is my favorite drive-through trail here in the Smokies. It is absolutely breathtaking, beautiful, picturesque views. You can see some wonderful wildlife. I always see bears on this trail, but there's also a really dark story here. And it was once a thriving mountain community. And it is said that one of its occupants, one of the most well-known occupants by the name of Lucy, still haunts her cabin here. And it is said that she can be seen outside of her cabin, or a figure dressed in white, I should say, which is believed to be her, outside of her cabin. So I initially was going to tell you this story from the outside and from the entrance of Roaring Fork, and I started to, and I walked outside and I had a really creepy feeling. I just felt like someone was watching me. It was a really, really creepy feeling, and I don't typically get like that in the dark, but it was a really weird feeling, and I actually jumped back in the car and I said, okay, I can't do this. So here I am inside the car and decided to take a drive instead. As we're driving through Roaring Fork, I can tell you it just feels weird. I mean, I know the altitude and the elevation is a little bit off. My ears keep popping, but I just feel like my fingers, I don't know what it is, but my fingers feel weird. They're not feeling numb, but they feel like I'm getting a weird sensation in my hands. And I'm completely honest with you guys, I just want to leave this trail, and this is my favorite trail. I've never been in it at night, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think I want to come back here, and I don't want to disturb any spirits that could be left here. I want to wish them peace, and I'm not here to disturb them. So we're just going to make our way out. At our next location, behind me is the Greenbrier Restaurant. I have never been here. It is on my list. I absolutely will go here soon. It is supposed to have some fantastic dining, fantastic cuisine, but it also has a little bit of history. So it is formerly a lodge, now turned into a restaurant. It actually has one of Gatlinburg's most famous ghost stories. It dates back to the early 1900s, where legend has it that Lydia was a bride-to-be, and unfortunately she was left at the altar, abandoned by her fiancé on her wedding day, and she was just absolutely heartbroken and devastated, and she tragically took her own life off one of the rafters at the restaurant there. And the rafter that she took her own life is actually still part of the Greenbrier Restaurant. So kind of eerie. And next time you are at the Greenbrier, see if you can see or if you can spot the rafter. I think when I go there for dinner, it'll be hard not to think about that. So let me know if you've been to the Greenbrier and if you knew about this story, and if you ever felt different or if you had any kind of strange encounter. Employees at the Greenbrier and patrons say that there's eerie cold spots around the restaurant, and there have been apparitions of a woman in white, believed to be in a wedding dress. Could it be Lydia? Could it be Lydia still haunting and her spirit trapped behind here at the Greenbrier? It is quite a tragic love story, but it is something that has kind of been a part of the restaurant's history, and it's captivated a lot of visitors that come here to not only enjoy the cuisine, but to kind of explore a little bit of the haunted history behind the restaurant. That'll do it today from Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I hope you guys enjoyed this little walk today and maybe learned a little bit about your favorite destination that maybe you didn't know before. These are just a few stories that I had researched and learned about, and I am certain that there are many more, many that I did not even cover in this video, but if you know of any, please feel free to share in the comments below, or if you've had any experiences with any of these locations or anything that kind of made your spine tingle or your hair in the back of your neck kind of stand up, I'd love to hear it. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I appreciate you all. And if you have not already, please consider subscribing for vlogs in the area. I like doing different tours in the area and taking you guys along on my adventures. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And remember, it is not the same without you.